Good evening. Leading tonight's news bulletin, members of the Niue Legislative Assembly met yesterday for a continuation of discussions from last week, but were surprised by an urgent matter brought to the fold by Premier Toketalangi to make amendments to the Niue Banking Act. With the imminent departure of the Bank of the South Pacific, there is a need for amendments to legislation to allow the new bank or agency to operate on the island. According to Premier Toketalangi, there were talks with New Zealand banks and that there was interest from 3. From the discussions, however, in the meeting yesterday, one of the main concerns was in terms of the accessibility to accounts.
Well, you'll be able to access your accounts here. You'll be able to also access your accounts if you have an account with that bank in New Zealand very easily. You just need to take either a debit card or credit card. That's the thing that I believe our people have been asking us to assist them with, to ensure that we can easily get access to funds that we have here and funds in New Zealand and so on. I think the other things, and let me also say that there is an FPAS person on the island at the present moment. We're looking at introducing FPAS to the island, which is not necessarily part of the banking, but it's an important part of banking services, if you wish. FPAS will provide access to other banks, other accounts you may have in New Zealand, whereas the banking agency will only access the particular bank and so on. But you can internet bank, which will allow you to access other banks as well, or transfer funds to the other banks as well.
Premier Toketalangi says that the Niue Enterprises Limited will be operated as a government-owned enterprise with a 3-member board with 1 director from New Zealand and 2 from Niue. Notably, some members voiced their concerns and suspicions over the urgency of the matter and the rushed nature of the discussions for the amendment bill, saying that there needed to be more information provided.
We should have been informed a lot earlier of what is actually on the tables at the moment. But I believe like the PSIS were willing to set up a bank on Niue, and the Premier turned it down. And to me that would have been the better one, because most of the public servants have got those accounts in New Zealand, and they're a very good bank. They look after their people. We need that type of bank to help us, and by physically having a bank here and not an agent, people feel more secure and see that the bank is trustworthy. I don't believe they did, and you'll see that a lot of the government members didn't even speak on the bill. And I don't believe that if they put that bill in front of them and asked them what does it mean, I don't believe they could do it. And I found it difficult, and I'm sure other people will find it difficult. Also being no Niuean copy of it, translation, and I think that's going to be so difficult to do, using the words that they've used, the English phrases and words they've used in it, because I don't believe there's a Niuean saying for those things.
I think there is a general belief that some people are deliberately trying to be confusing. Most of the general public are waiting for this to occur before they make a judgment, because you can't prejudge anything until it actually occurs. Whereas some people yesterday, and I was here, was talking about many things that never have occurred, never will occur, and it's just pure speculation, so it's nonsense. It's part of the reasons why I didn't bother to answer some of the generalized comments that were made. In fact, I thought that they were just alarmists.
The concept of having an agent has also caused a bit of confusion.
By having an agent, the agent's going to put their fees on as well, so we could be actually charged more than what we're going to be charged at the moment. As I say, we want a bank, and we're not against that, but we don't like this bringing in legislation at the last minute saying it's urgent, and if we don't do it we won't get a bank. I don't believe that was true, and we asked for the meeting to be deferred till Wednesday, and again they wouldn't accept that, and he said he wanted everything wrapped up for Monday. Well, we could have done it on Wednesday and people could have read through the Act.
Despite a number of motions put forward by the opposition to defer discussions to a later special meeting, as well as changes to some of the wordings of sections within the amendment bill, these motions were all defeated with the majority voting in favour of the bill. The amendment bill was passed after its third reading and the meeting continued with questions deferred from last week. Building resource and democracy governance and elections appears daunting at first, and for some electoral officers in the Pacific Islands, it can be greatly difficult considering the environment and systems to facilitate elections. Pianzia, who is an alliance network of Pacific Island, Australian, New Zealand electoral administrators, arrived on the island last week with 10 country representatives to train on some of the modules on developing election practices. Mr. Ross Attrell from Pianzia said there are important areas to focus on for good governance in democracy.
What's happening with this group is that they're being trained to facilitate this program. So they're not actually here to do the modules, but to actually learn to present the modules back in their countries of origin, and also to become resources for the whole network. So this is a very important part of our program because it gives local ownership of Bridge to the people who are going to be conducting it.
The process of election must be enhanced for the smooth and democratic electoral practices. Mr. Attrell also said there can be issues within any democratic country when it comes to elections.
It's a huge body of work that's been written by people all over the world. So it's about 5,000 pages across the 24 modules. They won't get to use anywhere near that much, but what they will have the opportunity to do is work in groups to act as facilitators themselves. So we spend the first few days trying to build their confidence and to give them some theoretical tips on how to be a good facilitator, and then we hand the materials over to them and they explore them, they choose sections of the program that they want to run, and then they conduct it for their colleagues who give them feedback on how they think they went. The idea being that this is the first part in a two-part process. When they get through this 2 weeks, to become a fully accredited Bridge facilitator, they then have to go and do field work, which somebody like myself or Tina, who from Vanuatu, who's one of our facilitators, or Hagen, go with them and support them, mentor them, give them advice at the end of each day. And once they get through that, and there are 8 learning outcomes that they have to achieve, then they get signed off and they go onto our international database, of which there's about 2,000 people at the moment. And across the Pacific there'd be a couple of hundred. So it's good to be able to add, because many of the people we got 10 years ago are now getting close to retirement, and so we need to revitalise the network. Yeah.
Now, how important is it to get the process right? In the Pacific, there are so many different cultures and different systems, I guess, for elections.
Look, that's a very good point, and one of the reasons why these regional network meetings are so important is that people can share their different systems, and they learn from each other. And it might be that Niue might hear something from one of our other participants and think, oh, that's a great idea. So it's apart from actually learning the program, it gives them 2 weeks to actually spend time talking to each other about how they do their work. And across the world, even across different cultures, there are many similar issues. Voter registration is always an issue. How to allow people to nominate, to make sure that elections are as inclusive as they can be for all sections of the community: men, women, rich, poor, people with disabilities, and so on. So rather than actually say that Bridge is not about saying there is one perfect system, it's about providing the information and the opportunities for people to select from their own context and from other contexts what might work best in their country.
Niue's facilitator Hagen Siosikefu, who is also a contributor to the book released by Pianzia on the topic, said there are many things that could err during elections processes, but the training given in the next 2 weeks will anticipate results on the regional conference that will take place for 2 weeks on the island. This week, New tourism industry operators are getting an overview of an online booking system that will support business growth. CCOM is an online booking and reservation system for tourism operators to enable them to accept online bookings, reservations and payments from customers. Niue Tourism says that about 80% of accommodation providers and rental companies on the island utilize this online booking system. But the aim is to have at least 90% of the overall tourism operators using the system. A trainer from CCOM is facilitating the training sessions as well as one-on-one consultations with those interested.
We had a training session here about a year and a half ago, so this is kind of another refresher and also training for brand new properties. So in the background there we've got a brand new property coming on at the moment. So everyone's really welcoming to it and we're just encouraging them all to keep their rates up to date, keep their availability up to date, and if they can put specials and deals on to entice the international customers to come over and to try and stay a bit longer if they can as well.
Online bookings enable potential customers or visitors to go to one place to book and pay for everything they do or want to do while on vacation. Julia says that keeping up with bookings will ensure good business, and if further assistance is required, that is also available.
We send out booklets and user guides, we've got online help as well, and then we're always just an email away as well. And then Vanessa and her team are all trained in what to do, so they're here to help too.
Julia also says that her visit has also been a good exposure to the island and the tourism industry.
I love my trip to Niue. It's lots of fun, it's really, really hot, and it's really, really cool to get to meet everyone as well and put faces to their names, and yeah, experiencing the island and helping them all out and just encouraging them to keep on it, keep their rates going, their availability going, and yeah, put deals on. So that's really cool. I'm loving it.
Niue Tourism is also encouraging all their operators within the tourism industry to take advantage of the service that is free of charge. Niue Island United Association of Non-Government Organizations, or Niwango, has elected a new executive to revive the development of the organization. The new committee consists of the President, Sione Leolahi, Vice President, Whakahula Funaki, Secretary Rupuna Morrissey, Treasurer Langaki Niulavini, with committee members Shiot Pautama, Tanya Tangilangi and Pitasoni Tanaki. We wish the new committee the best on the new posts. Kilikiki season started on Saturday, and according to the Kilikiki Committee representative, this year proved much better than last year's competitions. The Kilikiki rep said players were more enthused and excited on Saturday, which saw 4 villages take to the field. Hakupu played Lakapa and Liku. Hakupu batted first, scoring 339 in their inning with 25 players, and Lakapa were left to chase the score. Lakapa did well, but unfortunately ran out of time to reach the high score. They received 308 points with 2 batters still on the field, but ran out of time. Alofi took on Tamkotonga. Alofi bat first, receiving a score of 148 with 20 players before Tamkotonga chased the score in the second inning to win with a score of 155. We were not able to receive the official batters for Tamkotonga this week. Pool B will continue the island's Kilikiki competition.